Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for laughing at what my son said and not saying something to him? My son 15 was talking to my ex, his dad, while playing video games the other night. He rarely talks to him due to his dad not making an effort. He hasn't seen his dad in almost 3 years, even though he only lives 5 miles away. They were talking and yelling, and I walked past the living room to the kitchen to put some dishes in the sink and wash the dishes and overhead them. I told my son that when he is done playing games with his dad to get the Coke cans from his room, so X knew I was in the room. Well, they keep play, and then my son tells at his dad, "You suck worse than Kyle," over something his dad did in the game. Kyle is my boyfriend of 2 years. X asks, "Who's Kyle?" I don't talk to my ex unless it's an emergency. If he wants to talk to the kids, they are all teens and have a phone. I also don't care what they tell him, as I have nothing to hide from him. I kind of just assumed they mentioned Kyle before to him. My son looks at me. I look back at him and shrug, basically telling son to tell his dad who Kyle is. Son tells his dad, "Your replacement." There is a pause. Both my son and I burst up laughing. X hangs up suddenly. Later my ex messages me to bitch that I was a terrible mom to allow my son to say that, and I should have told him about Kyle when I started dating him. We have been divorced 9 years. So am I the antagonist for not responding when my son called my boyfriend his dad's replacement, and then dying laughing? Now for the top comments. Haha, Antia, your son has a great sense of humor. Yep. And sounds like he also has a good relationship with his mom, Op, and her boyfriend, Kyle, which is really great. Also, Kyle is not only better at video games than Op's ex, but also is a better father figure in Op's son's life. So good at video games. Great father figure, and is dating Op. Kyle 3x0. Kyle wins. NTA. I think it's pretty funny too. It's funny when kids say something shocking like that. Dad got his feelings hurt because the truth hurts. Pretty sure the dad might turn into Darth Deadbeat after this. Am I the antagonist for telling my wife's mom that my wife haven't showered for 5 weeks? My wife just gave birth to twins and haven't had a shower since. Every time I ask her to, she gives some kind of excuse, like I can't leave the babies, or I'm just too tired. She never acted like this with our first child, and even when I took time off work to help her, she still refused. I can't understand why. It has gotten beyond frustrating and worrying. Other things she usually looks after, like dinner or cleaning the house, haven't been looked after. I've been doing as much as I can myself, which is hard because I work full time. Now those things I can manage for the time being, as I understand that it must take some time getting used to taking care of the new additions to our family. She is really starting to sink, and it's hard for me when I sleep beside her during the night. So during work I called her mom to see if she had any idea to help her daughter. Her mom gave me a few ideas, but didn't tell me she was gonna come over, which she did. My mother-in-law went over to our house and basically forced my wife in the shower and refused to leave until she did shower. When I got home, my wife was pissed off and told me she didn't need her mom involved and that she only needed my support during the hard time she's going through. She been barely spoken to me ever since. I now feel as if I done something wrong. Am I the asshole for telling my wife's mom? Now for the top comments. NTA, but I would try and convince her to see her doctor. This sound like PPD, and she needs to see someone immediately. Edit, should have put my judgment as no a-holes here. It sounds like PPD, in which case, Op's wife isn't at fault either. Yes, came here to say this. It sounds like major postpartum depression. Please take your wife to see a physician. Now, this might be a sign of postpartum depression, which can quickly spiral into an even more terrible situation. Get your mother-in-law involved. Can someone stay in your house to help out with the chores while your wife heals, and also keep eyes on the situation? Talk to her doctor as soon as possible. I can ask my little sister to. My wife is close to her. Am I the antagonist for refusing to change how I dress because my friend is insecure? I met up with some girls I was friends with in college. We are all in our mid-20s. I got a job in my field in our college town and still live there. These friends are visiting for the weekend and reached out to me. We will call them X and Y. X and Y were best friends in college. I started hanging out with them because X and I were in the same eating disorder support group. We connected over body image struggles and recovery. Disordered eating is no longer part of my life, and I've never felt better about myself. X had also successfully recovered, and in college, when I'd last seen her, she was very body positive and very outspoken about accepting her body as it was. Because it's relevant, I wore a black fit and flare dress that went just past my knees, an oversized denim jacket, and a pair of heels. This is one of my go-to outfits because it's flattering and is very comfy. I genuinely didn't put too much thought into my outfit going into the evening. Near the end of the night, we all decided they should join my BF and I at a dinner party for alums that our college is hosting tomorrow. X then asked me if I could be more conscious of how you dress and not try to show off your body so much. This comment really took me by surprise, especially considering that my outfit was definitely not revealing, although I'll admit it was flattering. I asked her to clarify, and she told me that your outfit looks like you picked it to show off how thin you are. We both obviously gained weight since college, and it's really insensitive of you to dress like this when you know I have issues with weight gain. I told her that I'd had no idea she was upset by her weight gain, that I certainly wasn't trying to show off. Y took X's side and said it really seemed like I was trying to show off my body and that I should be more considerate when we are together on Saturday. I told them that I'm dressed normally and I'm not going to change how I dress because of their insecurities. It goes directly against all the body positivity we worked so hard for in college. They said that if I was going to be an R about being thinner than them, they didn't want to come to the event with us anyways. I told them I empathized with their insecurities, but I couldn't take responsibility for them, and that I'd text them tomorrow to check in about the event. I could have just agreed to wear something loose and moved on for the sake of the evening instead of taking offense. I still want to attend the event with them, and I'm worried my response ruined the evening. However, I was genuinely offended by the request and I think my response was warranted. Was I the R? Now for the top comments. Do not change the way that you dress. You are 100% correct that their insecurities are not your problem, and their comments do go against body positivity. Do they ask everyone skinnier than them to wear clothes they approve of? Ridiculous. NTA. I want to point out that even if OP wore something loose they could still find something to complain about. I remember where there was an increase in plus size women extremely upset at normal sized women wearing oversized clothing because they were obviously doing it to show off the fact that oversized on them looks cute, but oversized on a plus sized women looks sloppy. Honestly, it's really about how you style yourself, but a lot of those women weren't ready to have that conversation. NTA. You picked your outfit with no malice intended. Their feelings are not your problem. This is 100% true. Don't let their issues seep into your mind. Honestly, I'd bet they weren't seeing your outfit. It's your body positivity shining, and that makes you look amazing. A potato sack looks good on a person who's feeling it from the inside. I'd tell them calling attention to your body when they know you've struggled with body image was insensitive and cruel. If they cared about you at all they would have kept their mouths shut. Go to that function dressed how you'd like and let your inner light shine. Big or small, true friends will support you and the rest will run away. NTA. And you don't need to be around people who make you feel like one either. Am I the antagonist for getting upset and yelling at my boyfriend for telling his mom about my issues? When I, 19 male, was 12 my parents kicked me out after my dad caught me kissing one of my baseball teammates. I had to find ways to survive on the street and out of those ways messed me up, and I eventually got hooked on pills, mostly prescription pain meds and other drugs to numb the pain. I'm only here now because an older cousin found me after he left the army and got me into rehab and let me move in. It's really hard for me to talk about, and I don't like people knowing. My boyfriend Lyle, 18 male, knows this. I broke my arm pretty bad a few weeks ago and I was prescribed pain meds, but because of my history of drug abuse I don't ever take much more than aspirin. Last week we were at his mom's and she could tell I was in pain and she tried to give me some oxy that she had left over from when she had to get surgery and I told her it was fine and she asked if the doctors had given me a prescription. I told her yes, but that I wasn't getting it filled. She started asking questions about why and I just kinda refused to answer till she left it alone. I went over for brunch yesterday. Before I jet to the door, Lyle tells me not to be mad and I ask about what, but before he could answer his mom meets us at the door and grabs me up in a big hug. I'm wondering what's going on when she starts talking about how sorry she is about what I had to do on the streets and she was sorry for offering me drugs without knowing. I kinda broke down and just started screaming at Lyle about why he would tell his mom something like that and just ran off. I ended up taking the bus home and eventually calmed down. Lyle has been calling and texting me since yesterday apologizing and telling me his mom was hounding him about why I wouldn't take any pain meds for my arm and saying I overreacted. My cousin says I was being an ass and over the top and that I should at least hear Lyle out instead of ignoring his calls and text. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. She should never have offered you her leftover drugs. In fact, she should have properly disposed of them when she was done. I worked in a pharmacy for years and this is such a problem. One of many with opiates in my country and the drug companies are the root of the problem. And Lyle had no right to share that very personal information. Even if his mom was hounding him about it. I don't know how loudly you were yelling, so can't judge if that was an overreaction. But not wanting to contact Lyle right now isn't. You need time to think, and he betrayed your trust. NTA. You are both so young to be dealing with something so serious. First tell Lyle that you need space to process what he did. That it doesn't matter whether or not he felt forced to tell. The fact is he did tell, and he let you walk into a situation with his mother without warning you first. Also that calling and texting is not giving you space, and then take that space and the time to process how you feel about him telling, and whether or not you think you can be around his mother without you feeling uncomfortable. You might want to talk to him later, you might want to walk away, each is okay. Lastly, I don't know how long you have been with Lyle, but you might want to edit your history a bit in the future with friends etc. It's okay to say I lived on the street for a time, but it's not something I want to discuss. Everyone doesn't need to know the details of your life. I'm sorry, Opus. This will be hard for you for the next little while. Definitely not the a-hole, but Lyle is a massive R. It wasn't his asset to tell. Not once did you give permission for him to open his mouth and tell what was your booziness. All he had to do was sit there and say that you choose not to take any type of pain pills besides aspirin. That it is your choice and leave it at that. Am I the antagonist for telling my girlfriend that my sister was the most amazing woman I ever knew? Context: after my dad died, my older sister dropped out from high school to take care of me and 2 other siblings. She started making and selling backed sweets in our neighborhood. After 4 years she managed to open her own bakery at the age of 19, which was a huge success. She opened 3 more in the period of a decade. Her business was the first choice for weddings and similar events and celebrations in our town. She made a lot of money. She gave us money for college and equal shares of her business. She also got her high school diploma and bachelor's degree. Our birth mom didn't want anything to do us, so we always considered her as our real mom and best friend. Sadly, she died 4 years ago. My girlfriend and I were talking about family yesterday when I told her about my sister and what she did for us, and said that she was the most amazing woman I ever knew. Her face changed and told me in a sarcastic voice, "Thanks for telling me. Now I know that I'll never be as amazing and capable as her." She didn't even want to hear what I had to say afterwards. I told a work friend about what happened this morning and told me that her reaction was weird, especially since my sister is dead. Still, she advised against talking about another woman to a partner as the most amazing, unless I'm talking about a daughter. Now for the top comments. You basically said that your sister is your hero. Nothing wrong with that at all. Your GF must be insecure, not the a-hole. Deeply, deeply insecure. Worrisomely insecure. NTA. She's jealous of your dead sister, the sister that kept you and your siblings together. housed you, fed you, sent you to college, and has now sadly passed away. Sorry but that is. I don't even know what to say. Sad, bizarre, NTA. What person is jealous about their partner's siblings? Even more their dead siblings? She clearly overreacted. Not a keeper. Nailed it. Am I the antagonist for laughing when my ex's wife complained to me? Ex cheated on me with his current wife. That was 5 years ago. Ex and I share 3 sons who are 11, 10 and 8. Ex's wife has a daughter and a son with her ex, who she also cheated on with my ex. The two of them have said it all. From it was meant to be, to how great it is, because the kids all have a bigger and happier family. Blah blah blah. I'm over it in some ways. There is very much a sting that the affair partner in my marriage gets to call herself my kid's stepmom. But I'm not at all sorry that my ex is gone. The man slept with her behind my back for 18 months before her husband, and I found out. I'm civil when the kids are around. I ignore them when the kids aren't around. This whole thing happened over ex's parents. They were disgusted with him for cheating. Mother-in-law told him that he destroyed his kid's foundation. That leaving a spouse is never easy, and divorce is hard for kids anyway. But when you add conflict in the way of cheating, you take something from a child that they can rarely ever get back. And that's parents who can still care about each other and want the best for each other despite not being together. They stayed very close with me and haven't welcomed ex's wife at all. Nor have they been involved with ex's life since really, or his stepkids. It bothers her a lot. My youngest son won an award in school a couple of weeks ago. Ex and his wife were there. So was I. Ex's wife ended up coming up to complain to me because both mine and ex's parents showed up briefly, spoke to my son, then to me and left. She was saying how unfair it is, how her kids don't understand why ex's family have nothing to do with them and why they never see them, but they know my kids have a relationship. She said ex's family love me. It hurts her feelings to feel not good enough. I'll be honest, I rolled my eyes first, but then I laughed because she seemed to expect sympathy or help from me. Laughing at her pissed her off. I have heard from her and my ex since that I was rude. I should care about the kids at least. And I'm not thinking of my kids when I keep bad blood between us and laugh at her suffering. One part of me doesn't care and believes I'm fine once my kids couldn't see it. Another part of me wonders if I was an asshole to laugh at her. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, your in-laws sound like great people. They know who the mother of their grandchildren is and have never given up on you. The ex's new wife is just upset that there are consequences for their actions and wants everyone to forget that she and your ex both tore apart their respective families and tried to patchwork their own big family. If you're civil in front of the kids like you say, then I'm fully on board with you reaction. She and her kids already have 2 sets of grandparents outside of your in-laws. She just doesn't want the guilt of doing any wrong. I always bite my tongue around the kids and put on a smile as friendly as I can muster for their sake. My sons are the most important people in the world to me, and I want the best for them, even when it kills me. NTA. What did she think was going to happen? That your ex's parents would be happy, knowing that he's a cheat, and so is she. It's unfortunate that her feelings are getting hurt, but it's not exactly surprising that they wouldn't want anything to do with her. The ones I have actual sympathy for are her children, because they're suffering on account of their mother's poor decisions, but that's not your problem.